I picked up one crucial survival item that most people completely overlook. My haul today includes what I think is one of the most important prepping items every person should have. This may be the most underrated survival item of all time. What is it, and do you have it in your preps? Hey guys, it's Jera with Wicked Prepared. Welcome to the channel. I've got a prepper pantry haul for you today. Whether it's adding, improving, or restocking, we are always adding something to our preps. And we like to share what's been on our mind and on our hearts to stock up on and why. To hopefully inspire someone to be more prepared or show someone something that they never knew existed that could make their lives and their preparedness plan better. So let's jump right in and see what we've added to our preps lately. All right, I'm going to start right over here, and I guess I've got to start with these meals because they're kind of on top of everything else. So I got these meals. These are complete meals that are freeze-dried, so they're the type where you just pour in the boiling water and your meal is ready to go in about 10 minutes or so. These are like people would take backpacking, but they're also really good for prepping because if you can boil water, or even if you can warm water, even if it's not boiling, might take a little bit longer, but you'd have a warm, comforting, hearty meal, which is really important, especially in the early days of a power outage or a disaster. People are really wanting that warm, comforting meal. I've got butter chicken, southwestern chicken, cheesy chicken. There's a creamy mashed potato bowl with chicken, creamy beef with pasta. The funny thing is there's a few more. Actually, there's another one back there, chicken teriyaki, chicken Alfredo. And the funny thing is I bought these meals just because they were a variety pack that was on sale, and we like to have these on hand for preparedness, but we also use them for other things. Like we love to bring these when we travel. And by the time these arrived, we had gotten the word that this company was closing down. One of our favorite companies in the industry. This was a huge shock and a huge blow to the preparedness and food storage industry to know that Thrive Life was closing down. A lot of people have been really, really upset at losing another good, trusted food source that's helped people for years to build their preparedness and their self-sufficiency. But long story short, now all these meals are on a closeout sale. So, and as at the time of this filming, there were some left. Things have been going really fast. The crazy thing is, even before they started the closeout sale, things started flying off the shelf. When people learned they weren't going to be able to get this food anymore, they had to stock up on as much as they could, as fast as they could. And actually, most of the food that they sell is not these prepared meals. This was something newer. Most of it is single ingredients. Single ingredient cans, 25-year shelf life on most items. These meals themselves have a 20-year shelf life. And these are actually 3 servings. You can kind of see how big these are. And if you know much about these survival and backpacking meals, usually they will say two servings, and they're probably more like 1 hearty serving. So these are technically 3 servings, but I would consider them maybe 2 servings, but they are bigger than pretty much any other meal in the market because we've tested a lot of them, and these are really good and they're really big. But I am going to put a link down below so you can go check out what is left in the closeout sale, if anything. Hopefully some of these meals will be left because they are a really great item to have on hand for your prepper pantry. And next, buried under the meals, I've got this Barrow Cook, which would actually probably be really good for cooking these meals. Now, this is a flameless cooking system. It uses water to actually heat and cook your food. I'll open it up in a second and show it to you. But this is something that has been on my wish list for a long, long time. I used to want one of these so bad, and it kind of fell off my radar. I hadn't thought about it for a while. And then I actually saw my friend Tracy, the part-time prepper, using this in action. So that kind of renewed my interest, reminded me that I had wanted one, and seeing it actually being used, it was able to even cook eggs. I was impressed. So I'm like, I think I need to have one. So I grabbed it. So you can see it is obviously a cooker. It's got an outer part. It's got this neoprene or whatever this is that would insulate the actual container and protect it from breakage. It's got an inner metal pot that you can stainless so you can put your food in. And then it came with one heating pack, but obviously I'm going to have to get some more, but I'll show you. You'll see in a little bit why I just got this to try it out. So you just add water, and this actually heats up and cooks or heats your food So it's really light. It's easy to carry. You can use it in places that you can't use open flame or fires. Sometimes if you're camping or hiking certain places, you're actually not allowed to do that. So this could be great for many things besides preparedness, which is what I really like, but this would be a really easy way to quickly and easily heat some prepared food or an easy freeze-dried meal or something like that. So this is something that I'm really excited to work with. And next I've got some canned goods. So this is, I had a case of these, so 12. So I'm not sure why there's only 9 here. I'm missing 3, but these are the petite diced Italian style tomatoes. I like petite because my kids don't love the tomatoes. So if I use petite, they're smaller pieces. Doesn't bother them as much. The Italian style, anytime I can get some that are already seasoned, they've got Italian style, they've got chili style, Rotel, things like that. It's just one less bit of seasoning and ingredients that you have to add to your recipe. It adds extra flavor without having to add a lot of extra ingredients. So this was just something that we were running low on and had to restock. One of my most used canned ingredients probably. And then this little can of white clam sauce, I get this a lot from Amazon because Amazon has their subscribe and save program. You get a bigger discount usually if you have 5 or more items in your subscribe and save order that ships. So if there's stuff I really need right away, I can't wait on it and I don't have 5 items. I have a few things that I know I use. I know that's the best price I'm going to get usually. And, I'll just throw one on instead of stocking up on a case. I just throw one on every time I need an item. But I do love pasta in the Prepper Pantry. You'll see later. And part of what I love about it is there are so many different types of sauces. So you can have so many different types of meals with just a few different ingredients. Back here, of course, I've got just paper towels. Make sure you have plenty of your paper goods, paper towels, toilet paper, all of that stuff. Even if you don't typically use paper towels much, in an emergency, you might want to have a disposable option for cleaning up and wiping up. And then I've got some sweet potatoes. So this is interesting. I've always been wanting to work with sweet potatoes in my meals in a jar and in my, different kind of pantry meals that I make. And I never have. So I just saw these on sale recently. So I got a can of, this is a number 10 can, so a gallon can of freeze-dried sweet potato, and I got a can of dehydrated sweet potato, just so I'd have both to kind of work with and, test out in different ways, in different recipes. My family absolutely adores sweet potato casserole. We always have that at the holidays, but it's something that I can make anytime and make a meal a little bit more special because they love it. So I thought if I could come up with a meal in a jar of sweet potato casserole and things like that. So I wanted some to work with. This is a really good example to show you like some of the differences just simply between freeze-dried and dehydrated, because you can see I've got a can of dehydrated sweet potatoes here. It's almost 4 pounds in this number 10 can. So up here, the freeze-dried sweet potato, same size can. I can't really tell you how full each can is because I haven't opened them up yet, but assuming they're both similarly full, this freeze-dried sweet potato is only 1 pound. So it weighs almost a quarter of the weight of the same amount of the dehydrated, because that's one of the benefits of freeze-dried food, besides the fact that the shelf life is longer and the nutrition is much better. It retains the nutrients. It doesn't destroy them. It's also very light. So that's why backpackers, for instance, like to use freeze-dried food, because it's taken all the water out, but it hasn't compressed it and compacted it. So when you dehydrate something, you are getting a lot of the water out, but not as much as with freeze drying. And then the food shrinks because the process actually breaks down the cells and kind of shrinks and shrivels it. So the pieces get a lot smaller. So you're actually getting a lot more equivalent of whatever the vegetable or fruit is in a smaller amount of space because it's shrunk. But it also affects the quality. It affects how it comes back when you cook with it. It's just a different product. And then the freeze-dried, it maintains the cellular structure. So that's why the pieces look exactly the same coming out of the freeze dryer that they did when they went in. It hasn't shrunk and shriveled anything, but they are much, much lighter because every bit of water space has been replaced with air. So that's just a little bit of a lesson in the difference between freeze-dried and dehydrated, because we get a lot of questions about that. That's actually also why with freeze-dried foods, they absorb moisture so quickly out of the air because those cells are just open and just thirsting to get that moisture back in them. So it's why they come back to life really easily when you're cooking with them or preparing them. But it's also why if there's something you like to snack on, like fruit, like strawberries or peaches or something, they can start to get a little bit gummy after a while because they absorb that moisture so quickly. So you want to make sure to really, really store those completely air and moisture tight after you open the cans. A mason jar can be a really good way to do that, just to make sure that they stay fresh for when you want to eat them. If you're cooking with it, it doesn't matter as much because you won't notice that little bit of sort of absorbed moisture that changes the texture. So then I've got another freeze-dried sweet potato. So these are different. So these are in a number 10 can. These are in a Mylar bag, just a different way of storing the food. These are actually already roasted. So these have been prepared and then freeze-dried. So these could be just eaten as is, as a side dish, but I still am planning on kind of working with them when I work with these and coming up with recipes, because that's what I love to do. And this is another company that we've been working really closely with, that we really like their processes. We really like their quality. We really like their standards. As Thrive Life started to kind of decrease their product line and they got rid of some products that I use in a lot of recipes, I really had to find replacements because, you know, people are wanting to make my recipes. So we started exploring different companies. This is one that we've really been enjoying working with. I got some sweet potatoes from them. I was really excited about this stir fry blend. Freeze-dried buttermilk biscuits. I love making my own meals in pouches like this, kind of like the backpacking meals. And a really popular one from Mountain House is biscuits and gravy. And I never could make that myself because I didn't have freeze-dried biscuits. I actually have a freeze dryer. I guess I could freeze dry my own biscuits, but I like to do things that I can share with all of my audience, and even people who don't have a freeze dryer can duplicate it. So I was pretty excited to find these freeze-dried biscuits. These look so good. Biscuits is something that my family loves. I also got, look at this, freeze-dried meatballs, fully cooked meatballs. This is amazing. I'm so excited to work with these and make some jar meals. And just meatballs is something that my family loves. This would be really, really comforting in an emergency to have, or camping or something like that. We don't like to bring too much refrigerated stuff and have to deal with a lot of coolers. And this is a good amount of meatballs. When I started buying the freeze-dried food in the bags like this, I expected these to be much smaller and less full than they are. This is a lot of meatballs, and I was really excited to find this. I've got freeze-dried peppers and onions. So this is like a fajita blend for fajitas, which my family loves fajitas. So this will be really awesome for meal in a jar fajitas, which, you know, you can do with single ingredients also, onions and peppers separately, but I thought it would be really nice to have them all together. This one I'm very, very excited about, freeze-dried mirepoix. So a mirepoix is like a seasoning blend, if you don't know. It's just onions, celery, and carrots, just all diced up, and you can start with sauteing that and put it into a lot of dishes. I love mirepoix, and I was dying to have a freeze-dried one that I could just have handy and just be able to shake a little bit into the pan without having to chop all those different veggies up and all of that, and also just to be able to use in my meals in a jar. So I was really excited to find this, really excited. And here's another reason why. So this, I was so excited to find the freeze-dried tuna, albacore tuna. I have never seen freeze-dried tuna before, and one of my favorite dishes from my childhood was tuna casserole. It was the first thing that my mother ever taught me to cook. The first thing I learned how to cook myself, the first thing I learned how to cook without a recipe, the first thing, you know, that I just didn't have to look at a recipe. I just knew it by heart, and I still do, and it's still one of my, you know, really good childhood memories. So I really wanted to do a tuna casserole meal in a jar, but I did not have freeze-dried tuna. So now I do. So now I can work on a tuna casserole meal in a jar. A couple other items, carrots. You know, we've been on a mission for carrots for our recipes and for our viewers, because freeze-dried carrots are a little bit harder to come by because they're difficult to freeze dry. They don't always maintain their quality. They can tend to turn white. And so a lot of companies don't want to deal with them, and they just do dehydrated, but I have found a couple sources for freeze-dried, and I'm going to be testing them out, and this is one that we are excited to try. And then the freeze-dried pasta. Now this is a lot of pasta. It's fully cooked and freeze-dried, so this is going to be really good for making my own meals like this. I've been looking for a freeze-dried, just plain cooked pasta for a long time because I do love making meals like that. Really excited to find this. I got macaroni in my last order. This time I got some rotini. I'm so excited to work with these. If you're not familiar with my meals in a jar, they're quart jars with all dry ingredients. They're shelf stable for years. Just pour them in a pot, put in some water, cook them for a short amount of time, and you've got a homemade comforting meal. And then of course the meals in a bag are a little bit different. They're in the bag. You just pour boiling water into the bag, seal it up, insulate it a little bit, let it sit for 10 minutes or so, and you've got a meal. So two different ways to do emergency meals. And it's so much better when you do it yourself from scratch. So you can do the complete meal that needs to cook a little bit. Those usually serve more people, although you can cut them down. And the bag ones usually serve less people. So they're great for individuals and single people, small families, things like that. Last couple freeze-dried ingredients from Thrive Life. I've got pineapple. Once again, this was just on sale, and that's why I got it. Now everything is on clearance. And then this is crazy. The shrimp. This is one of the items we have gotten asked about the most, is freeze-dried shrimp. All the years of our channel, we get the most inquiries about freeze-dried shrimp. Thrive Life had this on clearance and it sold out really quickly. But I've got to tell you, with the sale, they're being really careful with the inventory. To make sure they don't oversell. They don't want to. They're not going to do any back orders. They don't want to have to refund everybody. So they're leaving themselves a buffer. So every once in a while, things go out of stock and come back in. I don't know if that's the case with the shrimp, or if as the warehouse is clearing out, they're finding more. This was originally from a government contract. That's something to think about. The government is stocking up on this food. The military is stocking up on this food. Next, I've got something that I think has come to the forefront of my mind as being one of the most important prepping items we can have. This was another thing that was on my wish list for a long time, for many years, and kind of got pushed to the background of my mind. And then, of course, it's recently come back into my priority list. So this is a weather radio. This is not a portable one. We have portable weather radios. They're in kits. They're in places like that. This is one that's meant to be plugged into your outlet and sit all the time in your bedroom or outside your bedrooms, somewhere in your home, that it can alert you at any time. So if there is a tornado warning, a hurricane warning, a flash flood warning, something like that, this will alert with a very, very loud alert to wake you up, to alert you wherever you are that there's trouble coming. So it's not too big. It's just like a small alarm clock. It's got, like I said, it plugs in, but it does have a battery backup, because you want to make sure that if the power goes out, that you are still able to get your weather alerts. So the battery backup is good. This is going to work. It's not dependent on the cell phone network, because you may or may not get alerts on your cell phone depending on your settings and a lot of different things. But if the cell phone network goes down, then you're not going to get them. So this is not dependent upon that, which is really good. It's designed to alert you no matter what. For people that are hard of hearing, there is an accessory you can get. There's a couple of accessories that plug right into this. One is a strobe light, and one is something that goes under your pillow, which will buzz and vibrate and go off and wake you up if you don't hear the alarm. So it can also be really good for really heavy sleepers. There's a whole list of different warnings, watches, alerts, things like that that you can set whether you want to be alerted to them or not. There's a few of them that can't be turned off, and that's things like the tornado warning, the flash flood warning, the really big ones that you need to know about no matter what. The other ones you can pick and choose. This one does have same technology, which I can't remember what it stands for, but I'll put it on the screen. And that basically means that you can program this to give you alerts for your area. So you're not going to be woken up by every, tornado warning in the whole country. This is just, you can program your county, and you can program other counties as well. So if you live near a county line, for instance, you might want to program more than one. If you have loved ones who live in a different county or a different state, a different area, you want to be able to know what's going on, where they are, so you can make sure they're okay. Lots of different reasons you would want to change this. I will do a video that's a little bit more in depth on this, but I did want to bring this to everyone's attention. I really think that everyone should have one of these if you can. I'll have a link down below. This is Midland, and I think Midland is a very well-known and good brand. I've seen other brands on Amazon and things, but nothing that I would trust like I trust this brand. And I know there's a lot of people who would say, I don't live in a flood zone. I don't live in Tornado Alley. I don't need something like this. But there's a lot of people out there right now who would tell you they never thought they would be affected by a flood, or they never thought they would be affected by a tornado, because the world is changing in some pretty crazy ways, and our weather patterns are changing, and it is happening. So it's always better to be safe than sorry. Next, I got this set of little glass Pyrex dishes or pans. Now this is something, I'm going to open them up and show you, but isn't this cute with all the different color lids? I love this. So these all hold 3 cups each. So you can see that each one holds 3 cups, and it is just this little glass Pyrex dish with a plastic lid. I had one container this size for some reason floating around my kitchen. I have one. It's one of those things I don't know where it came from. Do you have things like that in your kitchen where you have no idea where you got it from? You don't remember ever getting it, but it's just there. My brother is always borrowing that one dish because he likes to cook a small shepherd's pie for his daughter so he can leave out the things she doesn't like. So I found that even though they say it's for storage, that's what I like to use it for, is baking smaller dishes and smaller amounts of things. And it can be really great for like emergency ovens, because if you do have an emergency oven, some of them don't hold as large of a dish. So you need some smaller dishes that you can actually bake in. So this obviously is oven safe, not the lid, but the glass dish. So that was kind of what I wanted to get another set of these for, because I love that one. And next I got this set of chalkboard pantry labels. I get these all the time. I was getting low, so I got another set. This is kind of like mini labels of the labels that I use on everything. I get those in a roll, but for some smaller containers, I like to have smaller ones that match. So this is the only way I can find them. Next here, I've got a few rolls of reflective tape. This can be really good for labeling and marking boxes, kits, things that you want to be able to find in the dark. If you wanted to label things that you might be taking with you, like your bug out bag, so that if people are going in the dark, you can see each other. If you go down to your basement or out to your garage and you're looking for maybe a box that you keep all of your blackout stuff in, your flashlights, your lanterns, maybe, you can mark it with this. So you've got your one flashlight and it's going to reflect off this tape. There's a lot of uses for reflective tape. With prepping, you could even use this for signaling. If you were trapped in your house, maybe it was a flood or something, you were trapped on an upper floor, you could tape out an SOS or something like that. There's a lot of different reasons to have a reflective tape. I also get reflective letter stickers that I can use to label boxes as well. Next, a whole bunch of pasta. So I love pasta for my prepper pantry. My family loves pasta. I don't eat it as much, but my family does. It's inexpensive. It stores a long time. It's easy to cook. Everybody likes it. I think it's a great thing to have. Like I mentioned, if you have lots of different sauces and things, you can make lots of different dishes, and it's filling and it's comforting. I got mini wagon wheels. I store a lot of different types of pasta because I just like different types for different recipes, and I was actually out of these mini wagon wheels. If you are just starting with prepping, or if you have to prep in a really small space, obviously avoid all the different various shapes like this and just get maybe plain spaghetti, which takes up the least amount of space. Something like orzo that takes up very little space because it's very compact. These bulkier types of pasta take up more space per pound. And then I got orecchiette. This is actually a type of pasta that I don't think I've ever had or used. And so that's why I saw it and I was like, I'm going to get this and find some recipes, just because I like to have all the pasta shapes, and I've never worked with this one before. This one is probably a little bit more of a compact shape as well. Got some peppercorns here. I haven't had a pepper grinder in a long time, and I just got some new salt and pepper grinders I'm kind of excited about. They're like, you tip them over and they automatically go on. So kind of excited about that, but I had to get some peppercorns because I haven't had, like I said, a pepper grinder. But another thing to remember is that whole spices, if you can get your spices whole, they are going to store longer than ground spices. So that's something else to remember with your prepper pantry. Got some coconut milk powder. I use this in meals in a jar, any place I need coconut milk or a coconut flavor. And it also can be used as like a coffee creamer or a substitute, or if you're like dairy free and you want to substitute for heavy cream powder for a recipe, or just a shelf stable option to have, especially if you only need a little bit at a time. I love coconut milk powder. I've got another radio here. So this is similar to the other one, but this is like what I was talking about, a more portable one. We have a couple other ones like this. I'm thinking, like, I've got a couple of kiddos who are recently driving, so I'm looking at putting them together, car preparedness kits. This would be something that would be good to have for this. This is another Midland. I love this brand. It's not the smallest one you're going to find, which is why I maybe wouldn't choose this one for a bug out bag or something where you really want portability, but it does have a handle. It is smaller than some. It does have the weather alerts, but this isn't the type of radio that you're leaving plugged in all the time. It powers by a rechargeable battery that you charge up with a charger. It has a way to use regular batteries as well, which I like. I like having both options, rechargeable and disposable batteries. That's always a must for me in something like this. It also has a solar panel here, and it has a hand crank option. Those are nice options to have because in a dire emergency, they can give you a little bit of time, but they're not going to be the way you're going to want to charge or be able to charge it very efficiently. So definitely make sure that you keep it charged and have extra batteries on hand for it. This one this has the weather alert. I haven't started using this, or it's still got its tab in. It has a flashlight. It has a button that can do an SOS mode for the flashlight. And the other thing this had that I thought was really cool is a dog whistle, an ultrasonic dog whistle. I haven't been able to test it out yet. I do have 6 dogs, so I should be able to see if they pay any attention to it. But the idea is if you were lost and there was a search team looking for you with dogs, that could help them find you. So I think that's a really cool feature to have. It also can do strobe light with the flashlight as well. So this is a really solid unit. Like I said, I think this is a little bit different than the other one that is meant to be stationary and meant to be just on guard to alert you at all times. This would be more meant for emergencies. Like you have it in your car, maybe you have it to grab and take down to your storm cellar if you have to head down there or something like that. I don't believe this one has the same technology like the other one does, where you can set it to only alert for your area. So that's another reason that you wouldn't want this to be your only weather alert radio. Next, I've just got a few sort of medicine wellness type of items. You definitely want to make sure you have plenty of your over-the-counter medicines and things like that. We were sick in this house a few weeks ago, so this is like a lot of restock. So I've got this Armor Up. It's like an essential oil that's going to be for immunity. This is really awesome. This is a generic brand of basically NyQuil and DayQuil. And then I've got this. I'm not even going to try to say the brand name because I don't know how. This is a nasal spray. It's pretty natural, but it's going to help like prevent you from getting sick. It's going to help with allergies. It's going to help with a lot of stuff. It basically prevents those nasty germs from being able to take hold in your nasal passages. So if we feel ourselves getting sick, if we're going out and a lot of people are sick, things like that, we will use this. Because it has xylitol, you want to make sure to keep it away from your pets. We lean a lot towards using more sort of natural and non-toxic kind of remedies if we can, and keeping our immune system up so that we don't have to use medicines like this, but I do like to keep things like this on hand. If that's something that's important to you, switching to non-toxic products, then text CLEAN to my number that I'm going to put down on the screen so that we can connect on that. Next, I've got a lot of different salt. So I've got your typical plain old iodized salt. This is super cheap. It is fortified with iodine to prevent deficiencies, because in the past people had problems with iodine deficiency. Depending on your diet, you may or may not have issues with that, but I keep a lot of this salt on hand. Salt is one of the most important food-related prepping items we can have in our preps, and it actually has a lot of different uses besides just seasoning our food. I did a video on that recently if you want to check that out. But besides your typical salt, there's actually so many more types of salt. So this is one that I just found. This is a Baja sea salt. And what's special about this salt, it's not iodized, but it actually has a higher mineral content than like basically any other salt, I think. It's naturally detoxifying. It's naturally anti-inflammatory. It really helps to hydrate you. You can put this in a little bit of this in some water and drink it during the day. Really healthy. There's a lot of other salts that are actually really good for us besides just having regular salt. So I like to add and try new salts all the time. Back here, I've got some boxes of cereal. That's one of my kids' favorite cereal. Cereal is going to keep for, a couple of years probably in the pantry. It'll never last that long in our house. We always have instant milk powder. We always have shelf-stable box milk. So that's an easy meal that anybody could have if the power was out or anything like that. Got these pastas. These are a little bit different than the typical pasta because they're more expensive, but they're just cute shaped. I love to have pastas that go along with the holidays or different events or seasons. So my daughter loves track and she's doing summer track. And then I saw these running pastas. So I'm like, this is the coolest. So this is definitely just sort of an extra thing. She loves pasta salad. I'll be able to make a pasta salad or something like that. But this is more of a luxury than anything else. So I only got a couple of these. I did get some more pasta over here. That is the Protein Plus pasta. That's one good thing about pasta is you can actually get a little bit healthier versions. This one you can get more protein in your pasta, and you could also get whole wheat. I usually buy both of those varieties and mix them together because I can't choose which one I prefer. Next, I've got this lava gel oven. So this I found when I was looking at the other flameless cooker, and I couldn't really tell if they were exactly the same thing from the descriptions that they gave on the websites. So I had to grab them both so that I could compare them, and then I might return one or I might keep them both depending. This was a little bit less expensive than the BarraCook. These could be great for travel. They could be great for so much besides emergencies, and it's really good when we can use our emergency gear for other things so we don't feel like it's just sitting there not getting used. So activation water for the heating pad and the heating pad. So I'm probably going to have to really dig into what the ingredients are in the heating pads just to see if they are the same thing, which I'm thinking they are, but I'm not 100% sure. So I'll probably have to test these out. It's the same type of setup. There's an outer pan, there's an inner pan, which is stainless that you put your food in, and then you activate the heating part with water, put your food in and let it heat or cook. This one does come with a bag and some instructions. So I'm going to have to test this out. Let me know if you'd like to see any kind of videos showing how these work or comparing them or anything like that, because I'm going to have to try them out, so I might as well put it in a video. A couple more things here. A snack mix, trail mix. This has a shelf life of about a year based on the dates. So as long as something has, 6 months to a year shelf life and you rotate it, it's a good idea to have snack foods in your prepper pantry. I don't know how many people I have heard say they wish they had more snack foods. You're going to want easy things to grab and just munch on without having to cook or heat much of a meal. So I love dill pickle flavor, so I saw this and I had to try it. Now this is another one of those Better Goods items. This is a new brand, fairly new brand at Walmart. It's kind of like their higher class store brand, I guess you would say. They've got all sorts of cool things that I keep coming across and wanting to try. So this is a vanilla shortcake drop biscuit mix, which looked really good. Just add water. Those are magical words when it comes to preparedness, because you want things that are going to need just water and not need additional ingredients that might need refrigerating. A few more baking things here. I've got these cream cheese flavored chips, like cheesecake flavored chips. These are pretty awesome. I had this flashing moment where I was afraid that they had been discontinued. So even though I'm not out of these, I had to grab a few more bags. Got baking soda, lots of baking soda, lots of baking soda. Baking soda has lots of uses. Brushing your teeth, deodorant, besides cooking, all kinds of uses. And baking soda will actually last quite a long time. Not in these cardboard boxes that it comes in, of course, but if you repackage it, you don't actually have to take it out of the cardboard boxes. If you want to put it in Mylar or something, you can leave it right in the box, put that whole thing in. But these will last a long time if they are stored properly, a lot longer than baking powder. And if you mix baking soda and cream of tartar and a little bit of cornstarch also sometimes, you basically get a baking powder, and all of those ingredients separately will last a lot longer than a baking powder. So it's a really good idea to store a good amount of baking soda for all of those reasons. Next, I've got some of these instant mashed potatoes. These are the just add water because they've already got the butter, salt, milk flavor already in it. So these are perfect for preparedness. They just make 2 small servings. So if you just have 1 or 2 people, these are great to stretch a meal. You could make these and pour a can of, chicken a la king or something over them, a can of soup, anything like that. Some canned meat, some canned gravy. Make a lot of different meals. They're going to fill bellies and they're very inexpensive, and they're going to give calories, energy, all that stuff. I keep a lot of things like this in these pantry bins, which fit right on my shelves, and I can keep a lot of things. If I pull it out, if I need to get to the back, I really love these bins. I've also got some nuts back here. Nuts is a really good snacky protein source for your prepper pantry as long as you keep them rotated. I've had good luck with hazelnuts, not really going rancid very easily, and I also really enjoy snacking on them. They're a good healthy snack, so I keep a lot of these on hand. Got some pet things back here. In the way back, I've got puppy pads. We always have to prep for our pets, and think about if you have dogs, there might be times that you cannot take them outside. Either it's extreme weather or, you're down in your storm cellar or something like that. Many different reasons why you could possibly not be able to take or let the animals outside. So it's important to think about how you would take care of their needs. And then, of course, having food on hand and water stored for your pets. And then we keep supplements, medical, first aid, things like that we need for our pets. So this is just a restock of some of the supplements that we use for our pets. The plaque control, that's really good for their breath and it helps their teeth. Works really well. And then a CBD supplement that some of our dogs take, and that's good for all kinds of things. It's good for calming, behavioral, cognitive, mobility, digestion, immunity, so many things. We have a dog with some anxiety issues who takes those, but definitely remember to prep for your pets. Then I've got a big bag of flour. I use flour, so I keep plenty of flour on hand. Of course, it's better to store whole wheat berries for the long term, and then make sure you have a grinder and all of that stuff. I do have whole wheat berries. I do have a grinder. I'm aiming towards eventually doing freshly milled flour for things and not relying on just bleached all-purpose flour, but I'm not quite there yet. But it's definitely a lot healthier way to go, to grind your own flour and use it immediately. And then I've just got some seasoning down here. So this is some Lawry's taco seasoning. I was reading a recipe and the person said that this brand of taco seasoning was the best for this recipe. Now, this is not what I typically buy, but I do often, if I am doing a recipe, I will sometimes say use this brand because the taste is better, the taste is different. So I totally understand that. So I bought a case of this. Well, it's a 12 pack to be able to try it in that recipe because I really do know that sometimes different brands are different, and I always like to try something new. A lot of the time, if I can't find something in my local grocery store and I have to order it, it's just much cheaper per unit for me to order a case. And then I've got a bacon flavoring, so like a bacon flavored powder. I love making meals in a jar, and this is going to be a good seasoning to be able to add, a good flavor to be able to add, and it'll be good for lots of other things as well. And then onion powder. You want to make sure you have lots of seasonings for your prepper pantry just to make sure that your food is not bland and that you can keep yourself from getting sick of eating the same things over and over again. And this is one that we use a lot and we needed a refill on. I actually got 2 of these, but I don't know where the other one is. And this is just a black truffle hot sauce. I really like this stuff. It was running low, so I had to get this. And this lime crema sauce, this is something from Target. My sous vide has several meals that come with a cilantro lime crema sauce, and I love it. And so I'm looking for something that I can buy and use every day that has a similar flavor. So I've been trying some different sauces. I'm going to try this one next. So that's what we've got today. I hope you learned something new today or saw something that inspired or at least entertained you. In the world we're living in, the one thing we can take for granted is that we never know what's around the corner, and the worst things happen with no notice. So build a shield of preparedness around yourself and those you love to bring yourself peace of mind, because when it matters most, you can never be too prepared. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, leave me a fire emoji down in the comments and check out this video next for some more ideas. I'm Jara with Wicked Prepared. Survive today, thrive tomorrow. We'll see you next time.